The film opens with Simba, now all grown up and ruling the Pride Lands after his father. He walks out of his cave to announce his timely departure from the kingdom to bring his second cub into the world with his wife, Nala, who's moved to a nurtured Greenland. Simba brings his childhood protectors, Pumbaa and Timon, to protect his daughter, Kiara, until he's gone. Simba visits Kiara one last time. She shares that she's afraid of the storm that's to come, but Simba bids her farewell instead. Now left alone in the cave, Kiara gets scared of the thunder. Pumbaa and Timon begin fighting over whether or not they should sing to her. Luckily, Rafiki pays them a visit, which comforts Kiara. She shares her concerns about being scared of the storm. To make her feel better, Rafiki tells her how Simba was also afraid of the thunder until Mufasa took him out to face his fears. Kiara believes she can never be as fierce as Simba or Mufasa, so Rafiki decides to tell her the story of her courageous grandfather, Mufasa, to gain inspiration. The story is set in a flashback, in which we see young Mufasa alongside his parents in a barren land. From an elevated land, Mufasa's mother points behind the horizons and promises that there's a bountiful land called the Milele, which means life. She promises that she will get him there one day, but until then he should only imagine it. Suddenly, a raindrop falls over Mufasa's tiny nose. Since he's never seen or heard about the concept of rain, he asks his parents about it. As they explain the concept to him by singing a song, we see their infertile land turning green and luscious due to the rain. One day, Mufasa asks his father to race him, but he stands back with his wife and enjoys watching Mufasa play around. Mufasa plays in a dried-out creek which starts overflowing with water in no time. Mufasa's father gets concerned and asks him to return to the land, but it's too late for that. A giraffe helps Mufasa from drowning and puts him over a rock. His father decides to save him from there, but as soon as he jumps in the stream, it floods with water containing strong waves. A giant wave separates Mufasa from his parents. His father struggles to get hold of him and throw him over to the vertically placed wooden logs, from where his mother tries to get him. She asks Mufasa to move slowly since the logs are wobbly. Unfortunately, her instructions become useless when a giant wave heads in Mufasa's direction, along with an elephant. When the elephant strikes the logs, Mufasa goes flying into the air. He falls back into the water. By the time he finds wood to get to the water's surface, he finds out he's in a completely unknown land far, far away from his parents after the flood pushed him into a river. As Mufasa is stuck floating in the water, another cub his age shows up on the land nearby. He introduces himself as Taka, son of the king Obasi. He tries to keep a secret from Mufasa about the water infested with crocodiles. By the time he tells Mufasa he's about to be eaten, 2 crocodiles are seen coming in Mufasa's direction. Taka sees them and tells Mufasa to paddle and swim his way to the land. However, he reaches near the land, from where Taka grabs his paws and tries to lift him up. As the crocodiles get near Mufasa's tail, Taka's mother heroically appears and scares away the crocodiles with her fierce roars. She then begins scolding Taka for roaming on his own and hanging out with strays. Mufasa innocently corrects her by stating that he's not a stray but estranged from his family due to the flood. She takes pity on little Mufasa and decides to take him back home. She tells Mufasa to call her Eshe. Now she brings Mufasa back to the king, Obasi, who refuses to accept Mufasa even after hearing his tragic story. He decides to let Mufasa stay with them if he wins a race from Taka. The two race each other across the land, in which Mufasa doesn't perform well due to the flood incident. Taka purposefully slows down in order for Mufasa to win and stay. When Obasi finds out Mufasa has won, he allows him to stay but never truly accepts him. He orders Mufasa to stay with the females and never to interact with the males. Despite this rule, Taka loves hanging out with Mufasa and playing all day. The two bond well but have differences due to their different upbringings. As they grow old, Eshe decides to take Mufasa for his first hunt. Taka wants to join them too, but Obasi refuses to let his son join the females. Taka eavesdrops on Mufasa and Eshe. He hears Eshe consoling Mufasa for not being fully accepted by Obasi. As Eshe teaches Mufasa how to hunt in pairs, Taka continues to watch them from the bushes. Mufasa sniffs the air and senses danger. It turns out to be albino lions from another land. Eshe fights them besides Mufasa and teaches him how to defend himself during the fight. After a tough fight, Mufasa kills one of the albinos, due to which the rest of his kind retreats. Eshe gets slightly injured due to the fight. When they return to Obasi, she tells him how Mufasa fought and saved her. Obasi finally accepts Mufasa, and forwards his appreciation. Mufasa shares his concerns with Obasi, believing that the albino lions will return to seek revenge since he killed one of them. To confirm this suspicion, Obasi sends one of his lions to spy on the albino lions. When he infiltrates their land, we get to see that the king of the albino lions, Kiros, finds out about the death of his son at the hands of Mufasa. He ragingly roars and gets the other lions to kill the lion who left his son to die. On the other hand, Taka is having a heartbreaking conversation with Obasi. The informant lion returns and fearfully alerts Obasi of the albinos coming to their land for revenge. Obasi decides to stay back and fight for his pride while letting Taka go because he wants to secure his bloodline. Obasi also asks Mufasa to tag along with Taka to pledge his loyalty. The next morning, Eshe takes Mufasa into the fields, where she points at the skies and tells Mufasa to find Milele for their new beginning. Up next, the white lions show up in Obasi's territory, seeking the killer of his son and the king's son. When Obasi refuses to tell them about his sons, they form a circle around Obasi and his lions, indicating that they're going to kill them. On the other hand, Mufasa and Taka have come quite far by following the sun. They stop near the woods due to the river stream in front of them. Taka orders Mufasa to swim along with him, but he decides to stay back to fight. As they're arguing, Kiros and his lions show up. The two jump from one boulder to another and come across a waterfall. Before Kiros gets to them, they jump down the waterfall. Simultaneously, Kiros sends one of his lions after them. Mufasa and Taka manage to deceive him and run away from there. Mufasa and Taka slow down since the night has fallen. Mufasa senses someone's presence and sniffs their scent, prompting a lioness to show up from her hiding spot. She introduces herself as Sarabi, who's also lost with her bird, Zazu. As they form a team, we get to see Rafiki's past. The other monkeys are tired of Rafiki due to his power to see visions and conjure spirits through his dreams. All the monkeys gather on top of a giant tree and cast Rafiki out of there. He wanders that night and comes across Mufasa and his team. After getting to know each other, Mufasa lets Rafiki in on the team as their mentor. He uses his visions to see the directions to Milele and tells everyone they're headed in the right direction. The night turns into morning, but Mufasa and his team keep moving. They come across a path where they face a giant gap in their path. They can either go around or go down to keep going ahead. Mufasa recalls Eshe's directions to Milele. That's beyond the canyons. Hence, he suggests going down to hide their tracks from Kiros and his lions since he can pick their scent nearby. Sarabi argues with him about going around. As they continue their journey, Taka confesses to Mufasa that he started to like Sarabi. Mufasa suggests Taka compliment Sarabi for how she smells like flowers. When Taka compliments Sarabi, she becomes flattered by the gesture. As they keep walking ahead and singing to keep them company, Kiros and his lions show up. Being the mentor, Rafiki sees the elephant herd passing by them and decides to create a diversion. He messes with a beehive to trigger the elephants. As they begin running around, everyone, including Kiros and his lions, hides behind boulders to prevent themselves from being stomped on. Poor Sarabi gets hurt during this and faints. Mufasa bravely runs among the elephants and saves her. When she gains consciousness, Mufasa gives all his credit to Taka by telling Sarabi he saved her, so she likes Taka back. Next, Rafiki uses magic to find out their next direction, which is behind the snowy mountains. While they climb those mountains to reach Milele, Kiros and his lions are seen following their footsteps. Somehow Mufasa senses them and asks Zazu to fly back and cover their tracks with his wings. This plan to mislead Kiros works out at last. When Sarabi is alone with Mufasa, she confronts him that she knows Mufasa saved her and not Taka. This turns into a heartfelt confession of love between the two. Taka sees them from a distance and envies Mufasa for stealing his girl. That night, he climbs down the mountains and finds Kiros. He asks to be included in his team in order to seek revenge from Mufasa. Kiros seizes the opportunity and accepts him. Taka plans on leaving behind signs for Kiros to follow them. He returns to Mufasa the next morning and continues to move ahead. They finally reach Milele and get fascinated by the greenery and the animals. Unfortunately, the animals warn Mufasa to return before Kiros attacks other animals in Milele. As Mufasa is assuring the animals of leaving behind no tracks for Kiros to follow, Kiros appears behind them and reveals Taka helped him find them. He openly attacks Mufasa this time, but he herds him into a ditch. Sarabi goes to other lions for help, but they refuse to. Mufasa also delivers a speech and asks to provide protection to the kingdom if they help him fight the white lions. The animals get convinced and gather around to chase the lions away. Kiros attacks Mufasa with his minions and throws him off the cliff. Mufasa ends up hiding in a cave, where Kiros haunts him. That's when Taka recalls Aishi's final words about encouraging him for his courageous moment. He now intervenes and saves Mufasa from Kiros's deadly attack. This results in a giant scar around his eye. He tags along with Mufasa and helps defeat Kiros. When the kingdom is saved, they declare Mufasa their king. He also unites with his long-lost mother from childhood. The kingdom suggests casting Taka out for the betrayal. But Mufasa refuses to let such a thing happen, although he decides never to mention Taka's name again. Hearing this, Taka decides to change his name to Scar so that he can be reminded of his betrayal every time someone says his name. The film ends with Simba returning home with Nala and their newborn cub.
I am sure you liked the story recap. Please don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel for more amazing recaps like that.